Hello and welcome to day 28 in this quest for a 2000 rating on chess.com. And this is part two. In the first part, we actually played the game, and you can check that out if you just want to see the game action. And in part two here, we'll do the game review and analysis. And with the game review, it looks like I played at 76.6% accuracy, but they played at 86.2%. So I was just outplayed. But the game, it may have been more interesting than I thought. I basically blundered a bishop away because of a tactic, which is probably where the game was even, and then there's a big drop here. So that was probably the bishop blunder. But it looks like later in the game turned around to where I was ahead again. So I'll definitely have to check that out and see what it was. And it looks like I overlooked that. And then, of course, I was right back to being behind again. And I tried to hang in there, but, you know, I guess this proves that if you are behind, maybe you don't always want to resign right away, because then otherwise I wouldn't have had whatever this chance is to turn the game around that I overlooked. So let's take a look at this. I'll do the review here. What did the computer say? The computer even said, be sure to defend against tactics in the end game, and next time you'll convert that advantage into a victory. All right, well, let's see here. We played this Sicilian defense, the Rossolimo, I believe, or here it's the, if I could pronounce that correctly, Niezmetninov Rossolimo attack. So I think usually it's just called the Rossolimo. And now, I don't know. I probably didn't play that opening correctly, so I do have to learn that opening. I wasn't sure what to do after they played e5 because I don't know if I usually see that move. So I thought I could trade down material because they're a higher rated opponent, and I don't know, maybe play for a more drawish game. So anyway, that was my thinking. But then they kind of got me stuck here. So it looks like this bishop move was the blunder move here. So if we go back one move, let's see. At this point, white is slightly ahead. So I guess I was doing all right until I played this blunder move. It looks like just playing b3 would have been better. b3 would have been the better move. So I guess, I don't know, I played kind of a mistake in trying to trade pieces off too fast and ended up walking into a tactic there. So let's see. I played that. They capture, which is a great move, because now I was thinking, okay, I'm all right. I can capture with the king. Let's see. I thought I was all right. I could capture with the king because I saw that they could pin me up here, but I overlooked this move, pinning me from the other side. So anyway, that's what happened there. And it says that this is a blunder, oh, I should have just given up that pawn. I would have just been down a pawn, I guess. And then they could either capture the bishop and pull my king out into the opening, or avoid the trades and just back their bishop up, I guess. So this was the problem here, where so I did a video yesterday on how most games are decided by tactics, and so here's a perfect example. They pin me, I was thinking, oh, my king has to get out of this line, but I overlooked this pin. So it looks like I should have just gone here, and I would have been behind a pawn, I guess. So then from here on, I'm in trouble, and I'm just running for my life. And here they make a blunder. So how do I even... Oh my gosh, did I overlook that I could have just captured that rook? Oh man. Yep, well, once again, time trouble got me. I was trying to hurry up and move. I could have just picked off their rook right there. Oh man. All right, well, sorry. I guess, I don't know, I got to blame that on the pressure that he was building up against me and the time trouble. I was worried about not running out of time and just overlooked. Yeah, if I would have captured that rook, they would have been able to. Well, we'll look at that in the analysis, but here I should have just captured the rook. And did I have another opportunity? Let's see. I attacked their bishop. And then, yeah, now they do that. Okay, man. All right. And then we just went on and they got me in trouble here. Until they force. Anyway, I'll look at this in the analysis here. And, if we go further, I was trying to hang in there, but I needed to have my king over here to slow these pawns down. So they played at a 2000 level and I played at 1550. It says your opponent got the better of you in that game. You played the opening well, but your opponent was on another level. Your opponent capitalized on their chances in the middle game. Your opponent found some good moves in the end game. All right, well, if we look at... So I only played at 1550, so I got to do better than that if I expect to get anywhere close to 2000. They played at a 2000 level. So 93.1 versus 100% in the opening, and then 69.8 versus their 86.9, and then 69.5 versus 82.3. So I don't know, that was just a rough game all around. And then I even had, after my blunder, I had a chance to come back in the game and just totally overlooked it. Okay, well, let's go back to the beginning and do a quick game analysis and see what else we missed here. Okay, e4, c5. So the Sicilian defense, you basically just bring your e4 pawn out to the center, and instead of them covering this d4 square with their e pawn, they counterattack on the queen side with their c pawn, and that keeps an eye on the d4 square. So you play knight to f3, which can later allow you to bring this d4 pawn up. So if they capture, you recapture with the knight and not your queen, which they could try and harass with knight to c6 if your queen ended up on d4. So knight to c6, you just develop in behind this pawn that you pushed forward. Once again, putting more pressure on this d4 square. So here, white has different options. They can play d4 immediately, and then you have capture, and then the knight captures, and then usually they don't capture your knight, but you would have a knight in the center here. So instead, I decided to play bishop to b5, this Rossolimo variation. So you put pressure on this knight. And it looks like the most common moves are e6, which gets ready for a possible d5 pawn push. and it also allows your bishop room to develop. The second most popular move is g6, where you can fianchetto the bishop and line up down through the, you aim on the center here and down through to the king side. Let's see, which could be dangerous because if you lined up on this b2 pawn, and then maybe at some point brought your queen over here to try and put more pressure on this pawn. Let's see here. So now it looks like e5 is the third most played move, and I wasn't familiar with this move. So, and it still says it's a book move. So I guess I got to look in another book because my book didn't cover this one. So let's see. After e5, what does that do? Well, the one thing is that it kind of leaves a hole here and leaves this d pawn backward. It does make the space kind of equal here in the center. So most recommended is to just castle here. But I thought, well, maybe I can try and trade down material, but it probably would have been better to just castle. It looks like that gives you the most advantage, or even maybe c3 and get ready to try and push up to d4 and trade off these pawns in the center. So let's see here. We decided to capture, and the computer says that's good, but now the game is about even slightly in black's favor, so we shouldn't have captured there. We should have just castled. That would have been best. So then they capture, of course, and they capture this way to keep all their pawns together instead of capturing with the b pawn. Often you want to capture towards the center, but by capturing away from the center, it prevents your pawns from being broken apart and leaving you with the isolated a pawn. So now it looks like the best move is either knight to a3, which is interesting, putting the knight on the edge of the board, which, I mean, I guess you could then push this c pawn up and then reposition the knight here possibly, and then jump it into towards the center. But once again, castling is also recommended. So here, I've already given up my bishop pair, so I decided to just capture, and it says this is an inaccuracy. That d3 would have been better, but now the queen attacks. I go ahead and retreat, attacking the queen. It says that's excellent, but knight to g4 would have been better. Knight to g4. All right, well, I didn't think about that move, knight to g4. I guess from there you could block with your knight. Yeah, okay, I see the merits of this knight to g4 move. If the queen captures, you can move your knight here, guard the g2 square, and block and avoid a trade of queens. But here I was trying to trade off material, so we had this, but it recommends that I just move my king, but I was trying to trade, so now they capture, which is good, but they recommend just developing the bishop here. And so now we trade off material, but my king is stuck in the center. And let's see what is best here. So they play bishop to g4, which is good, pinning my knight. But bishop to f5 would have been better. But, I guess they could follow through with a plan of castling long and then checking me with a rook, and then capturing here, breaking apart my pawns on the king side and creating weaknesses. So I just play h3, to immediately force them to decide what to do. They back up to keep the pin on this king. And then I play this, which is best. That way, if they retreat here, they can't retreat or move forward and attack once I push this G pawn. So they just continue development, although it looks like castling long would have been better. And now we go ahead and attack, and it says that's excellent, but developing another piece, developing the bishop would have been better. Okay, so they retreat. We go after their bishop pair. Now this is an inaccuracy, and that c4 would have been better. Alright, so we capture, which is best, to get rid of their bishop pair. They capture towards the center, which is best, and now capturing towards the center is good, of course, because it opens up this half open file for the rook, and now there's pressure on this pawn, and the pawn's pinned to the king, or to the rook, I mean, and after knight to f6, there's a threat of capturing this pawn, and then if I recapture, they'll pick off my rook here. So I developed the knight, and it looks like it would have been better to just develop the knight up to here, knight to c3. And here I've blocked in my bishop as well. So they continue with this plan to possibly just go ahead and pick off this knight. So we move our king up to help defend this. Let's take a look at that. They're saying that it would have been better to play knight to knight to e4. Okay, I guess we could take a look at that. So knight to e4, if they pick this off, so if we go to knight to e4, I guess I'll take a quick look at it. So knight to e4, best would be this. Then our best move would be, let's see, bishop to g5. Oh, okay, we're attacking the rook. All right, so some more tactics here. Let's see. Well, I don't know if it's much of a tactic, but it's attacking this more valuable rook here instead of going after the knight. Now I can take that knight and the rook will be protected by the other rook. So looks like knight to f6, retreating is the best move. Then we go ahead and capture. Then they capture. Oh man. Then we fork both of their rooks, but it doesn't work because they can go here and check the king, and so I have to take time to move this king. Looks like king to f1 is best. So then it gives this rook time to move, and so rook to h5 looks like it'd be the best. So you notice how he put this rook on a light square to avoid any future problems of my bishop attacking it. So anyway, after this, it just recommends retreating my bishop down here to c3. So interesting stuff. That's a possible line that could have played out and kept white with a slight lead. Okay, so, and I don't know, I'm going to have to see these tactics a little bit better. So one thing I'm doing for the new year is I have a set of like 1,000 tactics problems, and I just started going through each day, spending an hour or so going through the tactics, and then I'm going to try and go the whole way through, then go back to the beginning and go through faster, and try and do that about 7 times. Just continue through those tactics to where I can go a little faster each time, and hopefully that'll help me see these tactics a little bit better, because I feel I'm kind of rusty on my tactics because I took a break from studying tactics for a while. All right, so king to f3, and now let's see here. Knight to d7, and that's an inaccuracy. So it looks like just knight to d5 would have been better, keeping that knight more in the center of the board there. So now, let's see. Well, we can take a look at what they said would have been best. So it's also saying bishop to c7 is a good move as well. So either of those moves, bishop to c7 kind of gives the bishop an option to come down over here maybe. So it kind of guards this side of the board, and it backs the bishop up away from any attacks by white's knight. But knight to e4 is also, or excuse me, knight to d5 is also a good move that brings your knight into the center of the board. So anyway, knight to d7, an inaccuracy. So we play knight to c4, which is best to put pressure on this bishop. And the bishop does not retreat. So instead, we have knight to e5 check, which is best. And then, we're in check, our knight's under attack. So if we retreat, we're going to end up with doubled pawns as well here. So it looks like, well, the computer does recommend king to g2 as being best here. So, that's pretty interesting option, I guess. Let's see. To keep the game even, also, the second best move is just to capture with the knight, which is what I did. Let's see. Then bishop captures, of course. And then, let's see. Rook to b1 is played, and it looks like, although it does like king to g2 once again. All right, so we go ahead and, well, our opponent plays f5 here, putting pressure on this g pawn. So it looks like bishop to e3 would have been best here. Bishop to e3. Second is h4 as well. All right. But if we play h4, at some point, if they captured here and we capture with the king, they could bring their other rook down and attack, and we'd have to retreat, and then they pick off this pawn. So I don't know. I mean, they still would have these doubled pawns that are pretty weak here. So the game continued with this blunder here. So the big blunder of the game, and it looks like now it's saying h4 is better. But then we would have capture, king captures, and it doesn't even recommend this rook check here on d4. That's the third best move. It says bishop to f6 would be better. Attacking, putting pressure here, and now bishop to e3. Oh wait, sorry, that's the wrong move. That's bishop to f4. So let me delete that move. Where are we at here? So get rid of that. So It's saying bishop to e3 would have been better. Okay, so that makes sense. That keeps the rook from coming down here and checking the king. And now this rook can be activated once this pawn is pushed forward. So now it says rook to d5, which is getting ready to swing over here and put more pressure on this pawn. So then, let's see. Pawn to f4? Why would you play pawn to f4? That is I mean, I guess it restricts this bishop a good bit and prevents this pawn from being pushed forward. Oh, okay, and then you can swing down here and add another defender to this. Okay, so that makes sense. Now the bishop can swing down and help defend this. So, once they pile up here, well then bishop to f2 helps protect things. Okay, so anyway, that's how the game could have gone, but I played this blunder right here, and then that allowed them to play, let's see here, the best move, capturing with check, and now my best option is to retreat to what? G3 here? Retreat to G3. All right, so we might as well take a look at that. So this is what I should have played at this point. King to G3. Then they go ahead and capture. The king would have to recapture, of course. And now we have, let's see. Yeah, I'm surprised they don't just check here with the rook to d4 check. But it says that checking up here might be a good option. But then we could pick this off. I guess they could pick that off. So the best move is for them to just capture here. Well, then we move up here to h2 to protect this pawn and to stop the momentum of this pawn. And now it looks like they would check. And then we have to move here. Let's see. Looks like king to g4 is best. Then they press forward with this pawn. And the best move, it doesn't recommend capturing that. But it looks like the best move is just to swing the rook over here to the open file. All right, well, anyway, that is once again what should have happened. But if we go back to this, so earlier in the game, we had rook to b1 to help cover this pawn and get our bishop out of here. Then they push forward. It looks like we should have moved our bishop to e3, but we attack here on, we attack their bishop, which was a blunder because they capture with check. We capture, but now they pin here. Pin the bishop to our king, and it's about to be picked off here. So it looks like rook at b to e1 is the best move, or one of the best, I guess. Now it's saying we should have played king to g3. So they go ahead and capture with check. Now we move to g3, which is best. And looks like rook to f5 is the best move. But instead they retreat back to c7, which is still excellent because they're lined up on our king here. And it looks like now we play king to g2, which is best. They put pressure on this pawn, but g5 is preferred, just pushing these doubled pawns down here. Okay, so Rook to e2 is excellent, but interestingly enough, it prefers rook at h to f1 there. Okay, well, which, I mean, I guess that move would allow us to push this pawn up. Okay, that would allow us, but they'd stop that anyway because they ended up going here. All right, and I didn't want to get this rook pinned to this pawn, so they push forward, and it looks like d takes c4 is best, which is what we do. And now they capture, which is excellent, but it recommends the immediate bishop move here to add more pressure on the position. So we attack the rook, which is excellent, but it preferred that we just double up here. All right, so now rook at c to f4. So now they're doubled up, and we just push our pawns forward here. I don't know if it liked that. What did it prefer? Rook to d1. It liked rook to d1 better here. But if we did that, we could probably be harassed by their bishop. All right, well, we just push our pawns forward, and they add more pressure. So now they have their bishop, 2 rooks all lined up on this pawn, and we just have 2 defenders. So it looks like we're forced to bring over the other defender with rook to f1, which is best. And now, let's see. The best move, it looks like, is to back up to f5 with this lead rook. But in the game, they move forward. Now it's saying this is best, which does prevent this pawn from pushing up and getting off of this dark square. So it's kind of a, if you're trying to target a pawn, it's good to blockade them first so they can't move. A moving target is harder to attack. So now this pawn can't move, and you're adding, you're piling up on it with the doubled rooks and the bishop. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. So here's a tactic that I overlooked as well. The best move here would be rook to e8 with check, and then either the king moves and we pick off, well, let's see. Yeah, that's what I imagine you would want to do. You can pick off that rook, and then they would have to back up, and then you can push your pawn forward. Let's see here. But that would trade down material. And it looks like what's recommended is if you go up here, then they capture, then you capture their rook, and then they go bishop to c5, and they would kind of keep these pawns on lockdown. And anyway, before we get into that, let's see what happened in the game. We just push forward here with b4, and it likes that. We're limiting the scope of the bishop. We're getting ready to push forward and attack that bishop, and that way it can't attack this f-pawn from there. And then they make a blunder here. And I absolutely just missed this. I mean, whoever was watching this, you guys were probably screaming at me, oh, you can attack the rook. And at this point, I'd let my time get low once again, and honestly, I was just trying to make sure I didn't run out of time, and I was thinking, oh, I moved this up, I need to attack their bishop. And so instead of looking what changed in the position after their move, oh man, so here I should have just picked that off. And then what is best? They would capture with check, then king to g2 attacking them, and then what? rook to h4, attacking the pawns. And then we just push forward here. And then what do they have? A4, it looks like, or A5, I mean. A5, and now rook to E7. Just ignore this and get up here on the 7th rank. So, which is always a good strategy, is to bring your rooks up. No, now it's saying rook to E8 would have been even better. So, I guess we could go back here and take a look at that. Rook to E8. Here it's saying that's the third best move. And it's also recommending king to G3. So, maybe the computer's a little confused here. But, in this position, we would just be ahead. So let's take a quick look here. So, rook to E7. Now it's saying king to G3. If we just go with the rook to E7 move. So we're attacking this pawn. Now what do? They just go ahead and attack us. Then we can just pick this off. Then it looks like either capturing here or G5. Let's see. G5. I don't know if I like that, because then you just go here. And then, oh, okay, I see. Then there's this, king to H3, capture, capture, bishop captures. But then we have this, and these pawns are broken, but you have a rook versus a bishop, and white has an advantage here. So, I don't know. I mean, they should be able to pull out a win if you can get your king over, get your rook up here to help block off the king. And I don't know. It might be a little difficult here, but white should be able to get some kind of advantage with this rook versus the bishop. All right. And I guess you could even, white should be winning here, because you can protect this by jumping up here. And if you can get your king over here in the game. Okay, back to the game. So rook to H8, this blunder was played. I completely missed it. I attacked their bishop here. And what do? They go ahead and capture. So, that's the best move. I capture their bishop. They check. I move here, which is a mistake. Better would have been king to G3. But I thought they would start chasing me up the board. So let's take a look at that. King to G3. Now it looks like better or best would be this. Then king to G2. Then rook to H2. King to G3. All right. Well, at some point they're going to have to bring the other rook down and force me out. So it's saying to do this. King goes back to here. They're going to end up with a draw if they go back again. So, now they can just go ahead and do this. And then it recommends bringing the rook over to here. Then rook to H2. King to G3. You don't want to go down here and have them pick off your rook. So now, it looks like this is best here. And then you can just trade off material. Okay. So we trade off material. Then rook to E8. But king can attack. And now rook to g8. Looks like c5. c5 would be best. And then you capture, trying to exchange off as many pawns as you can. Capture, capture. Anyway, this would have given me a lot more of a chance than what happened in the game. So after their blunder, we missed the capture of this rook. They must have seen their mistake and they capture. We capture. They check. We make another mistake here. They capture. We go up here and make a mistake. So what should we have done there? Rook at f to e1. So we should have just doubled up rooks here. And then, okay, if we doubled up rooks, they should have exchanged off with this. Then, of course, we would have to move. And now they just capture here. Capture, capture. And let's see. King to d7 to try and keep the rook off of the 7th rank. Then we would check, of course. And then the king comes down into the center here. Then we check. Let's see. King over to f6. Rook to e3. Rook to h5. And anyway, this is 5 pawns to 3. So this would be really tough. Black would probably be winning, but I don't know. He's got these doubled pawns here and doubled pawns here. So maybe white could hold, but this would be tough. All right, so back to where we were. King makes a mistake. They capture. Another mistake. Let's see. They could have picked off this rook already here. And we overlook by making another mistake. So what we should have done is king up to g2. So right here. And because we didn't do that and we pushed this pawn, well, finally they see that, oh, they can pick off a rook here. So, well, I take that back. I forgot about this move. That's the move that's best. You can push forward. So now they're going to go ahead and do that. They can pick that off, capture, but they get this pawn over here. And so now we're just in trouble. So at this point, what do we do? Here, perhaps I should have just moved down here and guarded both of these pawns. Maybe that would have been best. But the only thing about that is that their king can just start marching down here and come after me while this rook just blocks my king. So it says the best move is rook to e8 and then swinging over to here. All right, so it looks like the best move is to let that, well, we could take a look at it. And now it's saying it's not even sure about that. Rook takes g7 immediately maybe is better. All right, well, anyway, we'll see what happened in the game. So we capture. They go up here after that. It looks like instead of capturing there, we should have moved our king up into the game. And now it looks like that was best. We start moving our king up, but their pawns, oh, those pawns are so tough. Looks like checking would have been better there. Okay, yeah, so that's a mistake that I made. It would have been better to check and get this rook up here behind these pawns. So Let's see here. And the computer's not even sure. But one good strategy is move up here and check. Then you could possibly swing in behind, or if the king comes towards the center, you can check him and go after these pawns here. All right, so we move up, but it wants rook to g8. They start pushing forward with b5, and that's best. And then now it says we should have went here. Okay, so they block. We move down and attack there. What would have been better? Rook to g1 would have been better. All right. So they just slowly push forward. And now they have our king blocked out. So that's not so good either. That's an inaccuracy. What would have been better? Rook to g8, just checking. But I don't know. This pawn, 3 pawns, that's almost unstoppable. And now my king is blocked out of there. The only hope I have is to, I don't know, start pushing this up. But king to c7. Then it looks like rook to g1. But I don't know. Either way, it's not looking good. After rook to e5, well, then they just keep pushing. We push. They go here. b3 would have been even better. Looks like rook to e6 is best. Oh, man. Yeah, not good here. f6 would have been better. So if we go back, f6, then b3, then what, f7? No, rook to f5. Rook to f5, b2, rook to f1. And then he starts pushing the c pawn. So I don't know, this just gives you an idea of how things could have gone. But now we have f7, but rook captures. And looks like rook to b1 is best, but at this point you're just losing. Okay, so back to the game. Let's finish this out. The pawn pushes. We try to get in here behind these pawns and push ours at the same time. And then I think I just resigned here because, I don't know, the computer says it could have gone like this. Queen. But now we're just in big trouble here. And yeah, they would just win with that extra queen. All right, well, I'll end the video there for today. I hope you enjoyed this game review and analysis. I'm just going to have to try and play better the next time and not overlook these tactics. And then, man, I had that opportunity to get back in the game, and I guess I just let the time trouble get to me once I was down under 2 minutes. So if you stuck around for the entire game, I thank you. Please like and subscribe for those that haven't already. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions, and also any requests if there's something you really want to see, a certain topic, and then I can try and do a video for that. All right. Thank you all for watching, and have a super chess day.